So I have just installed the new stator in the stator case, which is on the left-hand side of the bike. So this was pretty simple. It was just these 4 bolts, getting this in the right orientation, making sure that this cable gets pinned underneath this little retaining clip, and then then the same thing here. The cable routes around underneath this. This clip goes on top, keeps the cable in there. These bits, yeah, they're just little like rubber grommets that just fit into the slots here. I think one thing I would say is probably start from here. Initially, I tried to start from here, and then I ended up with too much length of wire over here, and these grommets are all the way out here. So I put these in place, and then I did the rest of it, and then just wound it back until the bolt holes lined up, basically. There wasn't really too much to it. But they're in now. I also polished up, sanded and polished up these 2 little inspection hole cover bolt things. So this is all good to go back on the bike as soon as my bolt kit arrives. That's not coming for a while, so hopefully it comes in a few weeks and then I can get the engine casings back on. But I've also put these casings back on, and these are looking really nice. I'm pretty chuffed with how these have come out. Actually, this is looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with those. Yeah, I mean, these have just gone straight back on. The covers are back on now with new O-rings. These have been torqued up. I think these are 10 Newton meters. So yeah, these are these are actually looking pretty sick. I'm really happy with them actually. So yeah, the engine's looking nice. If I can get it in frame, there we go. Yeah, it's looking good. What I've done now is I've taken the clutch basket assembly out, and I've laid it all out here. Now, what I'm going to do is just put this away, and then I'll be back to talk about this. Right, so I've got most of my, well, all of the clutch basket components set out here. So I've got the old clutch plates and the steel plates in here in the order that I took them out. So I'm just going to basically replicate that as they go back in. Got the new clutch plates here, including this one. I think this one is clutch plate B. These are clutch plates A. You can kind of see that B is a lot thinner. This one goes on last and fits in these notches here, whereas all the others go down this slot here. So I'm just keeping that one aside so I don't accidentally put that in. I've got I think this is the spring seat holder. You've got 2 springs here. So really closely, the top one is like a flat disc, and then the bottom one has like an angle on it. So the flat one goes on first, and the angle one goes on after. This is the worst camera work in the world. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to put the clutch plates back in, basically in the order that I took them out. Don't forget the washer, that's to go in first. Definitely don't forget that. That guy goes in. Clutch plate that goes in next. So that's this one done for that side. Then I've got, I might just get, wipe off any dust and dirt or whatever. So I think these, what way around do these go? Looks like the softer edge. Can't really tell on the camera, but this is like a softer edge, more rounded edge than this side. So looking at how I took these out, the rounded edge faces inwards. So I'm going to just put this back in. Then the next one goes in. That's essentially this one. He's done. And we've got this plate here. Just wipe all the debris off of it. Basically been sitting on the floor for like a week, 2 weeks. That guy goes in. And this one. Now all of these clutch, oh, I've got my glove stuck. All of these clutch plates are the same. So it is just a case of putting them in the way they came out, and then making sure you don't put that clutch plate B in before the end. Yeah, this guy, he goes in, this one goes in, that's this one done, and again another. So oily, everything's so oily. This guy, that's this guy, and then that's this one done. Not many left now. Let's keep this thing all white. Rounded edge first. That's that one. That's this one. Okay, last one, last steel plate. Anyway, right, rounded edge first, and then we've got clutch plate B, which is again the last one here. Clutch plate B, clutch plate B here. You can kind of see the difference. These are super worn down. Anyway, that one's done. So this one doesn't go in this groove here. It goes in this sort of restricted groove, if you like. It's a lot shallower than the rest. Then this guy goes back on there. Okay, don't forget your springs. That would be very bad. Okay, so yeah, what I think I'm going to do is probably put this back on the bike, tighten this nut up a bit, but not torqued, and then make a note for myself saying that I still need to torque that nut up. And then this will eventually be able to go back on. Obviously not until I can torque the nut. And then, yeah, then we put the springs in. Oh, bearing feels nice. Yeah, and then the springs to go on, but at least that gets the clutch off of my garage floor. So I am going to do that now. Come with me. This goes on here, and there's little notches in this. You can probably see them here. They have to line up with the notches on here. So the way to do that, there's no specific way this has to go in, but basically interlock these teeth with these teeth. Just give it a little bit of a wiggle. Let me see if I can get this bit on first. There's a little chain behind that you can move. I don't know if you can see that cog down there moving, but once you've got this in, you can move that chain until the teeth engage. There we go. And then just give the chain a little forward and backwards motion. You should find that they are fully engaged. And then put this guy back in. Hopefully messed all these teeth up again. Maybe I should have put them on this. That was probably the smarter thing to do. Build them on this, not in this. We're almost there. It feels like I'm trying to crack a safe or something. There's one more. I can feel it. Oh, yeah. There we go. He's in. Right, let me go get that nut. Put that on there. I can open this one. Some sharp metal bits. So here's the new nut. This will need to be staked on here. That will need to be torqued up, but I'm not going to do that today because this engine is just going to rock about all over the place and cause me hassle, so I don't really want to do that. So I'm just going to tighten that up by hand, make a note, an actual note, not a mental note, so I will forget that needs to be torqued up. But essentially that's the new clutch plates in the basket on the engine. Yeah, there's, other than the major issue I had, which was accidentally smashing this plate to pieces, that was actually pretty smooth. But yeah, just me being an absolute gorilla, destroying the old one, which, you know, wasn't great, but it's a lesson, I guess. I know people on YouTube like to see when these sort of things go wrong and how you deal with them. I mean, there wasn't really much to show of how I dealt with it. You just buy a new part. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to make any excuses really. It didn't go as planned. It broke. Got a new one, fixed it. Yeah, I mean, just be careful, I guess. There's not really too much else I can really say. I'm not going to hide any of my mistakes by cutting them out. Basically, I don't really know. I've got a kind of a decent idea of what I'm doing, but I'm not an expert by any means. I don't really have that much mechanical knowledge. I just have the right sort of brain for it. I think I like to take things apart and put them back together, and in my mind it just sort of clicks. I know some people struggle with stuff like that, but I struggle with a lot of other things that other people find really easy. So for me, building engines and doing stuff like that is quite enjoyable, until you break something, and then it's not that fun. But yeah, that's the clutch basket in. I might see if I can torque it up. I might just give it one go, see if I can torque it up. And if it starts rocking about all over the place, I'll leave it and I'll wait until it's in the bike. If it turns out to be way too much of a torque rating for me to do while it's sat there on the floor, then I'll leave it and I'll do it when it's more secure. I'll give it a quick go, but if not, at least it'll be a bit tighter than just finger tight. So carrying on from where we left off with this clutch, this bolt is now torqued up. I've also staked the nut, so that shouldn't go anywhere. This is all good to go. So basically now it's just pretty much the springs and this spring seat. I don't think there's a particular way these go in. They look pretty symmetrical. 5 in a pack, but maybe it's because some clutches use 5, some use 4, not sure. Anyway, springs in. Hopefully this isn't too difficult. Fidget spinner goes on the front. Just want to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. It's been a while since we've come back to this. So again, like when we disassembled this, it is just a case of doing it up in an equal pattern, crisscross pattern. You don't want to completely tighten one and then tighten the other, tighten another. You want to do them sort of equally. It'd probably help if I actually, you know, got a tool to do that with. Bear with me. I think it's a 10. It is. A bit too loose to be ratcheting, really. There we go. Do a couple of turns on that one. A couple of turns on that one. I mean, if you're doing this yourself, it's kind of obvious which one needs doing, because as you look down on it, you can see some are completely flush with this plate and then some are sticking out a bit. So obviously the ones that are sticking out a bit, doing that the wrong way, the ones that are sticking out of it need doing properly. So like here, for example, this one is completely flush, this one's completely flush, this one has a tiny gap, you can see it's quite loose, this one has a bigger gap, again quite loose, which just tells me that these two are the ones that need tightening up next. So we're just going to go around. Starting to get to the stage now where I can't get the ratchet in there properly, so I think I'm going to switch to Switch to a 10mm socket. Right, that one's nipped up. That one has. That one has. That one has. Okay, these are all nipped up now. So what I'm going to do is quickly check the manual, see what the torque setting is, and then we'll get this one all done. Okay, yeah, so these are 12 Newton meters for this year and model. Interestingly, it doesn't show the torque setting on the exploded diagram. I found it on the clutch installation steps. So when you get to the installation step of reinstalling this plate, it tells you what the torque setting is there. And it is 12, so that's 11, 12. Tighten that up. One, two, three, four. And that is the clutch reinstalled. It was a bit of a faff. Obviously, I think probably because of my own stupidity, not having the right tools, not doing this while the engine was in the bike, not having the engine in a jig. I mean, like I said at the beginning of this sort of series, I don't have a lot of the proper tools to do these things. As much as I'd like to say, oh yeah, it's just to show that, you know, anybody can do this with basic tools. I mean, you probably shouldn't. There's a reason people don't do this with basic tools. There's a reason people don't take shortcuts for these sort of things, you know, because when instances like this happen where that bolt was torqued down incredibly tight, the whole thing ended up shearing off. You know, so get the proper tools, do it in the proper way, you won't have these issues. But yeah, that's the new clutch installed with the new clutch plates, new clutch springs. Next is I need to probably, doesn't look too bad actually, I was going to say clean this gasket surface, but it's actually looking pretty good. So the next step on here is probably putting this this gasket on, reinstalling this cover. Yeah, but before I do that, I've got to reassemble the clutch press lever thing on the inside of the plate. So that'll be the next step, then that can go on. Yeah, oh, I forgot that I kind of did this off camera, but there's the stator case installed. That looks quite nice. See what we're gonna... Oh, I like the contrast. I'm glad I shined these up and I didn't leave them black. Yeah, I quite like the contrast of that. That's looking quite nice. New stator's installed there. But yeah, I'll get that other sprocket cover installed. Not sprocket cover, clutch cover. And that'll be the engine pretty much all done. So this bit can be a bit tricky. So I've put the clutch lever arm back in. As you can see inside there, it's like a little notch, I guess. Probably see it better if I go this way. It's like a circular, semicircular notch. Lines up with the outside of this hole. Basically that's for this guy. This is the thing that pushes on the clutch. So the installation order for this, I think, is you put the spring in on the bottom. There's like a little slot where the bottom of the spring locks into. So I think this aligns here. Then as it goes round, it starts tension. And if you twist it more, you kind of see that notch comes around again. It's not a very good view. So what I'm going to do before I do that, actually, I'm going to put this circlet back on the base of the base of this little shaft here. So I don't want this spring absolutely launching itself anywhere. So get your circuit pliers, put that guy back on. So he's happy there. That's not going anywhere. Essentially what I did here was I lined up the notch with the hole. You can see that. So there's a little, there you kind of see it. Circular notch. Spring's not under tension. Rotate it. Spring starts to go under tension. There's a little arm on the spring, catches on this little bit here. And if you keep rotating this lever arm, you see that comes around again. This guy falls straight into place there. Now that's locked. And what you see happens is as you pull your clutch lever and this pulls here, this little thing pops up and down, puts pressure on your clutch plate. That's how that works. So that should be good to go now. I might stick a little bit of, I don't want to pull this out because that's under tension now, so I'll just release that. But I'll probably stick a little bit of grease on this, it's quite dry. Then reinstall that, stick the gasket on the surface. I think also in the manual it says to stick some gasket silicone around here, gasket sealant, liquid gasket, whatever you want to call it, just around here. I think that's pretty much the only place. So yeah, I'm going to do that. Grease this guy up, stick in the hole, a little bit of liquid gasket, and then install this cover. These are all in now, apart from this one. Missed this one. But yeah, I've just been putting a bit of copper grease on all of these. This stuff gets absolutely everywhere, no matter how careful you are. So yeah, I've just been putting a bit of copper grease on these guys, screwing them in, just nipping them up, finger tight, and then I'm going to go around with the torque wrench. These are the same as the other side, 12 newton meters. Yeah, and then this will be everything on. There was a few issues with some of these bolts, not these bolts, but when I took these off the first time, a lot of them were really loose. One of them on this side wasn't looking too healthy, so I wouldn't be surprised if we have a leak, an oil leak from these. I hope not, but I mean, we'll deal with that when we get to it. So I'm going to torque these up now, and then that'll be the engine all buttoned up. Well, there we go. That's the engine all reassembled. It's looking pretty nice, actually. I didn't expect it to look as nice as it does. So I actually get it in the picture. There we go. I mean, the lighting's not great in my garage, but That's going to look nice when it's in the bike, I think. I mean, these were super shiny, and then I've had my grubby hands all over them, so they're not as shiny now. But I'll give them a polish at the end. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to bother painting it. It looks pretty good. The bits you're going to see are mainly this, a little bit of this, and pretty much this. You're not really going to see anything below. The front looks alright, but again, you're not going to see that, judging by this one. It's all hidden behind the radiator. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. Clutch is done, new stator on the other side, new oil stem seals, what they're called, valve stem seals. Tidied up all those horrible notches in the fins. These have all been cleaned up. New O-rings below all this stuff. New gaskets, new clutch springs, new clutch plates. Just repeating myself now. What else? Yeah, I mean, it's looking nice. But yeah, appearance wise, very happy with how that looks. It looks so much better than it did. Yeah, it just needs a bit of a polish up again. I've just got my greasy hands all over it. But yeah, so it's all coming together.